Hello everyone, welcome to this week's weekly market view for Monday, the 30th of Jan to Friday, the 3rd of Feb 2023. My name is Vishal. Let's get started. So let's start with the Nifty analysis, and as we all know that we have a very important and a very big announcement coming this week, which is the union budget. So taking that into consideration, let's look at some key levels on the Nifty with the perspective of what could happen on the day of the budget, what levels could trigger, and where do we expect to see a bounce or where do we expect to see a fall. So let's start with the monthly chart first. So on the monthly chart, prices have been falling after creating this bearish candle formation here. Now we are into this level. This is your demand zone on the monthly chart. It may not be a very high quality one, but still it does show us some kind of a strength. We were not expecting the market to pull all the way down towards this level just within a few days, but that has happened. But now you see that today the monthly demand zone has been touched and it is showing a little bit of a reaction. Let's move on to the weekly chart now. Now the bigger barrier for the market will be this weekly supply zone that the market has created, right? So let's go ahead and plot this weekly supply zone here. And seems like after hitting that monthly level of demand, the prices are retracing back towards this weekly supply. Now we do have this weekly supply as a big barrier. So what could be the possibilities? In case if the market based on today's closing continues to rally up, then this weekly supply is likely to act as a barrier. And if this weekly supply acts as a barrier, there are chances that the market will start falling down towards this demand level over here. Okay, so at least that is the consensus, or there is a possibility that in case if the market just goes back and retraces back towards this level, then we might also move into a bigger consolidation move in the days to come. So the key level for the market will be to either break this level and start moving up, or then to hit this level and then just consolidate between this demand and this supply here. Once this demand zone breaks to the downside, we are going to be possibly seeing a much bigger fall, and the level of interest for us would be this key level of demand here, which is this base rally close to around 15,935 odd levels to 15,520 odd levels. Now let's move on to the 4-hour chart, which is the 240 minutes time frame, and let's try to gauge some of the key levels on the 4-hour chart. So if you look at the 4-hour chart, here are the key levels on the 4-hour chart. So if you look very carefully, this is the price point where actually you had your first base drop. Prices came straight into this level and started moving strongly to the downside. Okay, now we do have a level of supply here, but I will prefer marking this supply on a slightly smaller time frame. So we'll come back to this level, and this is that entire weekly supply zone. So you have this level which is more or less nested inside or within inside your weekly supply zone, and we'll bring up that level shortly. All right, let's quickly see if there is anything else on the 4-hour chart. No, there is nothing else on the 4-hour chart. Okay, so the next time frame that now we are going to go into is the 75 minutes or the 1-hour time frame. So let's quickly go to the 75 minutes, or let's say the 1-hour time frame, and let's move on to the 1-hour time frame. So on the 1-hour time frame, there are some key levels of supply that we need to watch out for. So I'm just going to remove these levels. This is already played out, and some of the key levels of supply to watch out for are going to be this supply zone, which is more or less from 17,895 to 17,969, again very close to the round number of 17,900. And then we also have this supply at the top. So just in case if there is a strong rally in price, then these are going to be the two obstructions of or on the Nifty, at least on the 1-hour chart. And if we go on to the demand side of the equation here, then on the demand side, we do have this gap level over here, which is again going to be a very, very interesting level. Prices did come very, very close to that level, but have still not filled the gap level here. So this level is currently far away, which is close to around 300 points. But if we have a move like today, markets can easily come down over here, and we might get to see a pretty strong reaction from this level. So 17,325 to 17,230. This gap level will be a level to watch out for. If you want to be a little tad aggressive in taking this level of demand, then maybe you can just probably slightly enter a little prior this level. Yeah. So 17,331 to 17,230 will be the level of demand on the Nifty 1 hour time frame. So these are going to be the key levels to watch out for when the budget is going to be announced. And if we do have these levels playing out, then these are going to be giving us very, very good trading opportunities. Let's now go a little bit lower time frame onto the 15-minute chart, and let us see if we can see some more key levels on the 15-minute chart. So I'm going to just flip this chart to the 15 minutes time frame, and I'm going to remove these levels for the timing right now. And if you go to the 15 minutes time frame, we see this area over here, which is slightly above your 60 minutes area, and this level also seems to be lining up nicely with the whole number of 18,000. So in case if the markets do push towards the upside, then 18,000 to 18,053 on the 15 minutes will be a level to watch out for. Perfect. Let's move on. Let's see if there is anything on the 5-minute chart. And on the 5-minute chart, more or less I'm thinking, or I'm assuming that there will be a level nested within that 15-minute level itself. Yeah. So this is that level. If you want to just fine tune that level, then maybe you just want to just extend this level here and maybe just fine tune the entry somewhere over here. Or just add below. Yeah, so 17,995 to 18,059, which is a level on the 15 minutes, but it is fine tuned on the 5 minutes. So this is your analysis on the Nifty. Now let's go to the daily chart for the time being right now. And if you look at the daily chart right now, we are seeing the volatility has spiked up as expected, taking into consideration the budget. Now, usually when the budget is coming out, the option premiums tend to get extremely inflated, and sooner or later, it's very, very likely that this red line might move into the uppermost part of the graph, or might go even a little bit beyond the upper end of the graph, which means that premiums are going to be super duper expensive. So at this juncture, when the premiums are very, very expensive, it is more prudent to be an option seller than to be a buyer of options. Because what is going to happen after the budget is that after the budget is announced, more or less you are going to see a big volatility crush. So first and foremost, before the budget comes out, there is a likelihood that volatility will increase, and that will probably bring the volatility straight into zone 5 or then maybe upper zone. And then once the budget comes out, you are going to be seeing a drop in volatility. So this drop in volatility is going to happen after the budget is announced. And it is this time where option sellers are going to make a killing. So if you are going to be an options buyer at when volatility is at its peak, or when volatility is high, or when volatility is increasing, there are very less chances of being profitable in options buying than in option selling. And that is the reason why we want to be more on the option selling side on the day of the budget, or at least a prior day before the budget. All right, now let's move on to another key market, which is the Bank Nifty. So let's open the Bank Nifty chart and let's do the analysis on the Bank Nifty, starting with the weekly time frame. Let's start with the monthly chart and then we'll go to the weekly chart. Let's follow that sequence. So just let me remove all the tools here, right? So unlike Nifty, who has already tested the level of demand, Bank Nifty still has slight more room left to go to the downside. Right now, you can also see that 38,910 is actually the level of demand on the monthly chart, but we are seeing a little bit of a reaction already come into um, on the monthly chart itself. Okay, now let us see whether this reaction turns into a strong reaction in the coming days to come, or whether the markets on the day of the budget decide to go a little lower. Okay, so let's get onto the weekly chart of Bank Nifty and let's identify some key levels. So on the weekly chart, currently right now Bank Nifty is reacting to this tested weekly level of demand, right? And this is that level which is already playing out. Now, because the level has pierced pretty deep inside the zone, there are very less chances of any filled orders remaining here. So the bigger chunk of unfilled orders is definitely going to be lower. So how much lower? So look at this level over here. This is going to be a very key level on the Bank Nifty in the days to come. It's much lower right now. We are trading close to 40,387 odd levels. But as I said, anything can happen. And this 34,132 to 33,121 will be a level to watch out for. Just like how we have a weekly supply zone on the um, Nifty, we also have a potential weekly supply zone on the Bank Nifty. So this is also an area where we cannot ignore, from where the prices have actually fallen down and have also removed couple areas of demand, right? So 41,748 to 43,596 will be an area to watch out for on the weekly chart of Bank Nifty. Now let's move on to the next time frame, which is the daily chart of Bank Nifty. So let's move on to the daily chart. Let's remove all the tools. And here you can see how the volatility has spiked up on Bank Nifty. It has already reached the zone where option premiums are super duper inflated. So again, right now the same principle holds. You should not be doing options buying in these scenarios because option premiums are very expensive, and the likelihood is that tomorrow also there is a possibility that this line will keep on increasing further, and then on the day of the budget you are going to be seeing a volatility crash. So not a good idea at all to be a buyer of options right now in the current volatility scenario. If you are planning anything, it should be more on the selling side than on the buying side. Let's look at the daily chart of Bank Nifty now, and let's analyze some key levels on the Bank Nifty. So the first level that is going to be this gap area over here. So if you look closely, not this gap area. This gap area is more or less coming down from here. So 38,448 to 37,974. So this is more or less coinciding with the 38,500 level. Now I want to show you something very interesting here, and we actually don't speak a lot about this. But generally, when the markets are falling or when the markets are rising, majority of the institutions, use something which is called as moving averages. And the very famous numbers that come into anyone's mind are the 20 period, the 50 period, and the 200 period. So you might be noticing that, people talk about that today, आज, 200 period moving average hit हो गया, या, कल 50 period moving average hit हो गया, and so on and so forth. So let's go ahead, and I'm going to go into the study here, and I'm going to put on average, and I'm going to change this to 200, and I'm just going to probably thicken the line here. We will just change the color to blue, and let us see something very interesting that I'm going to be showing you right now. So just make sure the colors are the same. And when you click on apply, you see that this 200 period moving average is pretty much lining up very close to this area of demand. Now, it is not necessary that the price will not go below the 200 period moving average, but what is more important or what is key is whether the candle or the daily candle closes below or above the 200 period moving average. So this is going to be a very, very interesting study for all of you all, because if you have a demand zone and if you have a potential 200 period moving average confluencing with that demand zone, then this demand zone is going to be considered to be a very, very high probability area from where you can expect to see the prices bounce and give a very, very strong bounce. So let's not lose hope. And even if the market falls all the way down towards these 38,500, 600 areas, it's a good opportunity to go long and expect to see a potential big bounce. In case if this level breaks, then we will have to see further levels on the Nifty to the downside. The next levels to watch out for are going to be this rally based rally level of demand, which is 36,262 to 35,000. 764, and thereafter we have this area of demand, which is more or less from 34,105 to 33,465. But of course, um, a lot is likely to happen at this area of demand before anything else happens or prices go further down. So let's take it level by level, and then let us look at what is more likely to happen. If the level breaks, then obviously these two demand zones will be in contention. On the daily side, we have a supply zone, but that supply zone has already played out. And this is a supply zone that we have been talking since many, many days. In fact, price reacted very, very strongly from a 240-minute level. And I'll just bring up that level for your reference over here. So this was that key level which we had brought up in our weekly review a few weeks back, where I was talking about this drop-based drop supply zone. And look at how the markets have actually reacted from that level. So very, very strong move. And this is an area from where the prices have significantly fallen down. Okay, so right now this area is tested or deeply tested, so probably lesser chances that something might happen here. So we'll have to go a little bit further down and investigate some lower areas. So let's go now to the lower time frame charts. Let's go to the 75 minutes chart. Let's change this to the 75 minutes. And now when you go to the 75-minute chart, you see a nice area of supply over here. Now, very likelihood that this supply zone might get triggered tomorrow itself, right? So this is an area to watch out for. And in case if the price continues to move further up, then we might even see this area of supply in play. All right. So just like how the Nifty has two areas of supply, we might see Bank Nifty also having these two areas of supply. But again, as I said, level by level. If price comes into this area, this will be the first shorting opportunity. If price fails to and breaks this area, then 42,620 will be the second shorting opportunity. Right now, also, if you see, prices have reacted to this drop based drop, and we had a pretty strong reaction to the downside, but then in the end the markets also bounced significantly to the upside because of this area of demand over here. Okay, so this area of demand, although the structure of this level is not great, it is still lining up with that monthly level of demand. And as I said, that if the level holds true and if the level plays out, then we are most likely to hit 41,604 very, very soon. Okay, if that doesn't happen, then expect to see the markets either range bound or expect to see a further fall in the market. Now let's go on to the 15 minutes chart of the Bank Nifty, and let's look at some key levels with an intraday perspective. So on the 15-minute chart, let's change this to 15 minutes. So on the 15-minute chart, let's remove all the tools here. And we have a very, very interesting area of supply just above the 75 minutes. And this is what actually, attracts the naked eye in terms of where the fall has actually come from. So 41,921 to 42,109. So in case if you all are planning to take the short at the 75-minute level, try and make sure कि जो आपका stop loss है वो 42,100 के ऊपर होना चाहिए. Okay, so put your stop loss above 42,109, and then you can possibly trade taking a short entry at 41,921, or you can even enter slightly lower at the 75 minutes supply zone. Okay, now we have done with the Nifty and the Bank Nifty analysis. So let's quickly go into the USDINR analysis and let's try to gauge what the USDINR is telling us. So on the USDINR also, we are seeing some key levels. So let's start off with the monthly chart. Let's remove all the tools. Let's make the chart nice and clean so we can start and do a fresh analysis. So here we are on the monthly chart of the USD INR. The monthly demand zone is pretty much intact right now, but if uh, on the day of the budget, m- very likely that these levels can also be triggered, and we can expect to see a stronger bounce coming in into this market. So just be aware about of this level, and then you also have a slightly lower level over here of demand to watch out for, 76.49 to 75.20. These are longer term levels, but these are important levels. Okay, on the demand zone side, let's try to see something. So this is more or less done. So there could be something interesting somewhere here in this gap area, which is much lower. And supply, I don't think there is any supply yet, but markets are just hovering over here. So we'll have to just wait and watch. Let's move on to the daily chart. Let's see what the daily chart is telling us. So on the daily chart, we have broken a level of supply. So now we'll have to consider this area of supply, which is 82.44 to 82.78, and most likely these levels might get triggered during the budget announcement. And on the demand front, we do have this gap area of demand. So what we would expect to see is, as you can see, the volatility is already spiked up, and option premiums are pretty expensive right now. What we might tend to see is a pretty consolidated, and markets might range, and move pretty sideways in this environment over here. Okay, unless and until price breaks and moves up, or price breaks and moves to the downside. So this is likely to happen on the USD INR, unlikely to happen on the Nifty and the Bank Nifty. But let's see. All right, any key levels to look at on the intraday perspective? So let's go to the smaller time frame here. Let's go to the 30-minute chart. So key level of supply to watch out for will be this drop base drop supply zone. We'll also try and include this entire candle just to play it a little safe, because during budget we'll expect to see pretty high volatility. So 82 146 uh, 4 to 82 3174, these are going to be the key levels of supply. And on the basis of demand, let's move to the right a little bit, just see. No. So I would still be leaning slightly more on the short side of USD INR, because prices have made a new low. All right. So watch out for 82.14 to 82.31 on the 30-minute chart of USD INR. Now let's go a little bit stock specific, and let's talk about some key stocks. We have two stocks to discuss today. One is Tata ELXSI. And again, this is more with a slightly longer term perspective. So I'm not going to be bringing up any intraday charts here, but we are going to be talking more about the monthly and the weekly zones on this chart here. So let's look at Tata ELXSI. All right, so let's start with the analysis on the monthly chart. So here we can see that Tata ELXSI has been holding this monthly demand zone, and has been just consolidating there is still lot of room for this stock to move to the upside towards the 8,800 odd areas. Okay, now can we just build this up or build this down a little bit lower? So when we look at this chart, and right now we are in a little bit of an area of concern here, taking into consideration that markets also are not giving much of a help. But this is an area to watch out for on Tata ELXSI. And in case if let's say prices hold on to this supply and start to fall down, then another area which you can possibly think about re-entering with a longer term perspective will be this rally base rally over here. So this is going to be a very very key area to watch out for, which is 5,000, and also more or less the round number of 5,000 to 4596. This is an area to go long on Tata ELXSI, and your potential target on Tata ELXSI can be this supply zone here. Okay, so we might expect to see the price come into this area reacting from this supply, and if price comes to this zone, then we can expect to see more buying coming in and ride the price all the way to the upside. So just watch out for 5,159 to 4596 on Tata ELXSI. Now let's move on to the last stock for the day, which is Grasim. So let's open up Grasim. And again, we are just going to be doing the higher time frame analysis on Grasim. In fact, 3 time frames we are going to be looking at Grasim. One is the weekly time frame. So let's start off with the weekly chart on Grasim. And as you can see on the weekly chart, we have created this new weekly supply zone on Grasim. This weekly candle is already closed. So there is a possibility that in case if the markets do give a spurt up to the upside in the morning, tomorrow the price can come and sit into this area of supply, which is 1654 to 1702. Lot of room for Grasim to fall to the downside. But one thing that you need to keep in mind is that this is a higher time frame. So obviously you cannot be shorting a stock and carrying it forward. So any trade that you take in Grasim more or less will be lining up with a futures trade, right? So this is going to be a little bit of a high risk opportunity, but we can keep a close watch on Grasim and expect to see that if the price does get in over here, then we might see another fall in price. Okay, let's move on to the daily chart and let us check what do we see on the daily chart. So this is the weekly chart, and the daily chart is more or less already tested, and it is seeing this downfall here. But what is also interesting to see is that there is another level of demand over here. Okay, so if this level does break, then we might see a bigger fall coming into Grasim. But the more likelihood is that in case if the price does come into this area, we might see a bounce and then price going back towards that weekly level of supply. So the profit range on this trade setup is a little less as compared to, but even if you are able to capture a move from 1519 1483 towards 1673 area, will also be a great opportunity. Alright everyone, so this was the analysis from my end. I know it has been a little bit more elaborative. I wish you very good luck on the day of the budget. Trade safe, trade with proper risk management. Do not risk all your money, and if you do like our channel, do not forget to hit the subscription button and give your valuable feedback on how you liked today's session. We will continue doing these valuable sessions for all of you all every week. So do follow us, do subscribe, and spread the word. Thank you very much. Have a great week. Bye-bye.
This should not be treated as a recommendation. Please conduct your own analysis or consult a financial advisor before investing.